There you go again, spending money without telling me. Why do you keep doing that?
What? I work too. Why do you care?
I care because this is something that we talked about. We agreed that we wouldn't spend over $500 without consulting each other first. Those rims cost over $1,000.
See, I knew you were gonna be like that. I knew you were gonna say something. That's why I just did it anyway.
Oh my God, I can't with you. This is what I'm talking about. You make me so sick.
You make me sick too. I'm out.
Okay, bye.
Hello, I'm Joyners, and this is the September Marriage Moment.
And I'm Crystal Joyner, and what you just witnessed was a dramatization. However, these type of situations would happen too frequently in our marriage.
Yeah, I remember those days. And if they happen to us, then we know many of you could be experiencing the same issues as well.
Forgiving your spouse, your significant other, or even a friend can be very difficult after a disagreement. So we wanted to provide you with some tools that have helped us out in counseling over the years.
One of the things you have to do is deal with unforgiveness. Many of us don't even realize that we're harboring resentment and unforgiveness until someone actually points it out to us.
Yeah, I remember there was a time when Jarrell lived in a different state and we happened to be on the phone and having one of those heated discussions. And he actually said I was bitter. He's like, "You're bitter." And I said, "What? I'm not bitter." And so I thought about what he said, and you know, it's amazing how the Holy Spirit will reveal things to you that you think that you've either moved past or you've actually forgiven. But when we're in reality, you really haven't. Even if you don't talk about it anymore, you just push it down in your heart and you just don't deal with it. It wasn't until that moment that I realized that all of the life choices and decisions that we had made over the years, some I had control over, some I didn't have control over. But indeed, I had become pretty bitter for reasons that, you know, I knew about, but things that I didn't know about. I had a lot of unforgiveness in my heart.
And another thing that we discovered that we never paid attention to was how much our upbringing played such a huge part in our expectations. Yes, while Crystal and I met, fell in love, and got married, there were issues even from the start. We just didn't notice. For instance, Crystal came from a home full of emotion, people always telling each other they love one another. And they didn't just talk about it, they showed it. On the other hand, I came from a family where things were the totally opposite. We didn't talk about it, and we surely didn't show it. I just knew my parents loved me, and they fed me, they clothed me, and they took care of me. And that was good enough for me. So even when we were dating, there were issues. But as I stated, we ignored them. For instance, Crystal would want to sit next to me on the couch, and I'd say, "Slide over. Why do you have to sit so close to me?" Or even worse, Crystal would ask me, did I love her? And I would say this with a straight face, "I love you, but don't expect me to tell you every day." Crazy, right? But that was my experience. What that was doing was denying my wife the love and attention she was accustomed to and building up years of resentment. A final lesson we have learned, in which most of us pay little attention to at all, is understanding and listening to the emotions behind the words. I remember our counselor Kevin telling us, "Jarrell, did you hear her? Did you hear the emotions behind those words?" What he was saying was each of us express emotion, especially when we disagree with one another. However, we get so fixated on what the other person is saying and preparing our response that we never take time to understand or recognize the emotions the person is expressing. We both have been guilty of this.
So Jarrell's lack of emotional interest really caused me to just suppress the very essence of my heart. Over the years, it made me question my value, my impact. It even made me wonder, was I good enough? Because what he didn't realize was that his expression and communication was oftentimes given to things that I didn't even think even mattered. My expression of emotions had become bitter and dismissive. It wasn't until I began to really evaluate my bitterness and its core that God was able to truly speak to the brokenness and heal my heart so that I could see Jarrell as Christ sees him. God has called us to walk out the fruit of the Spirit. And sometimes walking it out requires you to long suffer. But even in what we consider as long suffering, God has a way of revealing our true selves. And when we see our own imperfections, we begin to grant those we love some grace. So you might be wondering, what does that forgiveness look like? What does it really look like? It looks like dying to your flesh daily, dying to those emotionless desires to want to be mad, to want to see that person hurt as much as they've hurt you, to want to even keep record of wrong so that you can justify your own actions. All these things that are in direct contradiction of the word. Forgiveness is a day-to-day, moment-by-moment intentionality. That means when the enemy chooses moments to come and kill, steal, and destroy, recognize it for what it is and confirm what God has confirmed in your life and your marriage.
So in closing, forgiveness. It can be a difficult process, but in order to have a healthy future, you have to deal with the past. First, we have to understand our bitterness or resentment that we need to deal with. Also, we need to understand that when two people come together, they bring everything they learned as a child with them, the good and the bad. If there are things from their childhood that haven't been addressed, they will become issues in your new family. Our family dynamics play a huge part in what we expect in our relationships. And finally, if we really want our relationships to flourish, then we have to lead with our ears, follow with your tongue. That's James 1:19. Be careful not to only listen to what is being said, but pay keen attention to the emotions that are being displayed. As you have heard, seeing a counselor paid huge dividends in our relationship. Don't be afraid, too proud, or too stubborn to seek the help you need if what you're doing is not working.